All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about a tweet that Terence Crawford put out on Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo, and also an article which claims that Errol and Jermell Charlo are freezing out Terence Crawford. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to go through another another public relations attempt to frame Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo as a duck for Terence Crawford's decision not to fight Errol Spence Jr. And also something that Terence Crawford came out and said to Errol and Jermell in a tweet, which honestly, in my opinion, is again a calculated public relations move designed to keep attention on Terence Crawford while he plans to fight absolutely nobody next and puts the pressure on everybody else to change something that he decided to do. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, thank you so much, man. This video, I got to give it to my regular dude, the first dude that supports the channel almost every time in the live stream, my guy Stone Alone. Hope you're doing well, Stone Alone. Thank you, brother, for your support. It means so much to the channel. Thank you to everybody else in the live stream that supports in the super chats and the cash apps. And thank you to everybody like Mr. Pragmatic, specifically Mr. Pragmatic and Tony T, who support in the super thanks in the videos like this. That I be in the that's why I make sure I try to stay in those comments. Thank you, dudes, for so much for your support. Now let's get into this. All right. I'm not going to be shy about this. I'm just going to be like, man, come on. I said that this was going to happen, and this is exactly what's going to happen. Is exactly what's happening. After Errol Spence Jr. tried to make a fight with Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford tried to make a fight with Errol Spence, and Terence Crawford walked away from the negotiation table on his own accord after saying that he'd accepted the fight, that they were going to, after he fought David Avanesyan, they're going to want to start negotiations right away with Errol Spence Jr. And I said it and I mean it. I do not believe that these negotiations are going to amount to anything other than a lot of public relations PR for Terence Crawford in the tradition that has been happening more and more lately in the sport of boxing, where there's a lot of talk about a fight, and then the fighter inevitably goes to fight somebody else. It's been the case with Ryan Garcia, been the case with Devin Haney. A lot of talk about fights taking place, and then all of a sudden, boom, you know it doesn't happen because the other side is ducking you, and boom, you go off and you fight the guy that you were going to fight anyway. But nobody, in my opinion, is a better example of that new trend than, and it may not be a new trend, but it's definitely a trend, than Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford takes to Twitter, and he, again, like clockwork, right? Because I'm telling you that's what they were going to do. And like clockwork, that's what's happening. He gets his Twitter fingers going again. This time, he lights at both Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo and says, Jermell Charlo, I didn't know that Errol Spence Jr. was your daddy. And, hey, Errol, I'm sorry that I talked to your son that way. Can't wait to fillet you and fry you, and serve you up as fried fish, right? All that is fine and dandy, but it's all a bunch of talk in the media to get people to do videos about it. But what is the fact of the matter? The fact of the matter is this. Errol Spence Jr. right now has just had a car accident. Thank goodness that he's well enough to continue his career. After that, he has a mandatory fight with Keith Thurman that is 99% going to happen somewhere in the May, April, June timeframe, depending on when Errol feels comfortable about getting back in the ring and letting his bumps and his bruises and all of that stuff heal, right? So you're looking at that point in time. After that, he probably has another mandatory with either the WBA or the IBF. Now, he does have another one with the WBA and the IBF. So when is this fight with Terence Crawford going to happen? It's not going to happen at the very least until October of next year, and more than likely will not be available until 2024. So any of the talk about, frying up fish and, I didn't know you was the daddy of this dude or whatever, man, all that is to me, is just a bunch of corny PR. Honestly, it's just straight corny, number one. Now, say I hate on Terence Crawford because I think, daddy jokes are corny. I'm sorry, man. I'm just not buying it. You know what I mean? He had the chance to make the fight. You didn't want to fight me before the end of the year. And all of that stuff went down. He didn't take the fight when he had the opportunity for the fight. If he wanted to wait till February, right? If you believe everything that was said, he could have had that fight in February. But anyway, all that water under the bridge. But like I told you, this is exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to happen no matter who Terence Crawford fights next. Because believe, he is going to fight somebody else before he fights Errol Spence. So how about this question? Who are you going to fight next? Who is Terence going to fight next? I keep positing this idea. Terence fought in December 10th. Jaron Ennis is fighting January 7th. Errol Spence Jr. is going to be fighting off in June. So Terence Crawford can get another fight in at the same time Errol Spence Jr. gets a fight in, and it could be Jaron Ennis. And if you fight Jaron Ennis, then there is no one of those mandatories go away, right? Because Terence Crawford would have beaten Jaron Ennis, or Jaron Ennis would have beaten Terence Crawford, and boom, goes away to mandatory, one of Errol's mandatories. And Terence would have done something that he has not yet done, which is some of the heavy lifting related to getting undisputed in that division. You can say what you want to say about how good a fighter Terence Crawford is and how you think he will beat Errol and all of that. But you cannot deny that Errol is the one that got all of those belts together with the exception of the one that Bud got 8 fights ago? 3, 4, was that 4 years ago? Bud's been fighting once a year for like the last 3 years. And I think I'm pretty sure that was back in, at least 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So he got one guy, Jeff Horn, out of there to win a championship 4 years ago. After that, all of the other belts that have switched and gone hands is a matter of Errol collecting them. So since Errol's not going to be available for you in June, and he's not going to be available for him in June, fight Jaron Ennis. Or do what I know he ain't going to do, which is go to 154 and fight Jermell. But go to 154. Move up to 154. Say you're the WBO super champ. Claim your mandatory shot with Jermell Charlo. Now, that is a lot harder route to get Jermell and Terence Crawford in the ring because, again, Jermell Charlo has mandatories himself. But all of this talking, seriously, I'm going to talk about it because this, like I said, this is media manipulation, in my opinion. And it's going to be happening and it's happening and been happening on a lot of different levels. So definitely going to keep up and track the narrative for all of this stuff. But at the same time, look, easy route here. Go fight, get a voluntary fight against Jaron. Jaron doesn't even have to be your mandatory. So if Jaron becomes the IBF champion and he's the mandatory, there's nothing for Errol. There's nothing keeping him from going to fight Terence Crawford in the voluntary. It's just that Jaron wouldn't be able to force Terence Crawford to fight him in the mandatory. But anyway, that's how I think it should play out. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.